Soviet Air Force, or Военно-воздушные силы, literally meaning military air forces, were one of the air forces of the Soviet Union. The other was the Soviet Air Defense Force, but today we're going to look at the ranking structure and a few facts about the Soviet Air Force. A quick note before we begin, the ranks I read out will be from highest to lowest, like the last time, and most of this video may seem similar because the Army and the Air Force share the exact same ranking system. Marshal of the Soviet Union. The Marshal of the Soviet Union, or Marshal Sovetskого Soyuza, was a rank created in 1935 and abolished in 1991. This rank is comparable to a NATO rank code of OF-10 and is the Eastern equivalent of an Air Marshal or General of the Air Force. The Chief Marshal of Branch, or Главный Маршал Рода Войск, was the head of a branch of service. Unlike the Soviet Army, for the Soviet Air Force there was only one version of this rank, the Chief Marshal of Aviation. This rank was above Colonel General and Marshal of Branch. The Marshal of Branch, or Marshal Roda Vojsk, was similar to its superior, Chief Marshal, in the way that it had one type, unlike the Army where it originally had 4 types. This rank was considered an OF-9 by NATO codes. Colonel General. The Colonel General, or General Polkovnik, was created on the 7th of May 1940. This rank immediately follows the Marshal of Branch because there is no General of the Air Force rank within the Soviet Air Force. The rank is comparable to an OF-8 or a Lieutenant General in non-NATO terms. The Lieutenant General, or Generalleutnant, was the Eastern equivalent of an OF-7 or a Major General. Major General, or Generalmajor, the rank is NATO rated OF-6. It is the equivalent of a Brigadier in the British Army and a Brigadier General in the U.S. Army. The Colonel, or Polkovnik, were often in charge of a regiment and often being considered an OF-5 by the NATO code. Lieutenant Colonel, or Podpolkovnik, is considered an OF-4. The rank of Major, or in Russian Mayor, was an OF-3 rank, and there isn't much to say about the field grade officer ranks. The rank of Captain, or Kapitan, was the most senior of the company officers class and was introduced in 1935. It was also considered an OF-2 by NATO codes. Now the lieutenants, or the lieutenants, were split into 3 different ranks: the Senior Lieutenant, or Starshий Lieutenant, which was an OF-1A, the Lieutenant, or the Lieutenant, which was an OF-1B, and the Junior Lieutenant, or Mladший Lieutenant, which was an OF-1C. Now there weren't really a distinct training officer section of ranks, but there were more or less the ranks of Starshий Praporshchik, Senior Warrant Officer, and Praporshchik, Warrant Officer. The rank of Praporshchik was introduced in 1971, and Starshий Praporshchik in 1980. The rank of Sergeant Major, or Starshina, was an OF-8 rank. There are 3 sergeant ranks in the Soviet Air Force. There are the Junior Sergeant, or Mladший Sergeant, the Sergeant, or Sergeant, and Senior Sergeant, Starshий Sergeant. Like in the Soviet Army, most sergeants were not career non-commissioned officers but specially trained conscripts. Then there was the rank of F-Rater, which, in this case, is basically an Airman First Class, or a Senior Airman. And lastly we have the rank of Private, which is pretty self-explanatory. In this case it's the equivalent of an Airman, or a Flieger, or whatever the lowest rank in the Air Force is for a different country. And that concludes our ranking list of the Soviet Air Force. If you have any questions or want to correct something that I have said, please comment below. Sorry about this being a shorter video, but there really wasn't much else to say that you hadn't already heard in my previous video. Now if you'd like to like and subscribe, show the video all your support for this growing channel, much appreciated. Have a good one.